Another beautiful day it is for us here on Classic FM, and of course you're welcome to the Discourse. I'm Sulaiman Lede. Quite a number of things that we've been looking at in the nation's polity, and of course we've had quite a number of people, from politicians to religious persons, entertainers, but one key issue is about safety, and it's so important that we are bringing that to the discourse today. It's so important that everyone and anyone must be concerned about safety, whether you are an HSE expert or not. But this day we have chosen to look at safety on our roads, and it is coming at a beautiful time where the world will be marking what you call the UN Global Road Safety Week, and it starts tomorrow. And of course, what a good day for us to start this particular talk today. I'm honored and excited about it, that I'm being joined by the FRSC Lagos Sector Commander, and that's our friend today, Olusegun Ogungbemide. He's right here to help us look at some of the key things we'll be looking at today on the discourse. Good to have you join us, Commander Ogungbemide.
It's a pleasure. I'm happy to be with you tonight, this afternoon.
Well, I'm more happy. That's something about the FRSC, and ever since we sent out the information that you'll be our guest today on the show, we've been receiving, quite a number of questions. And I said to myself, well, even without those questions coming in, I know today is more like frequently asked questions. A lot of Nigerians would like to ask questions that bothers around road safety, that bothers around they, as motorists, drivers, and even commuters. They all have that desire to know how best they can stay safe on our roads. And the good thing is that, as I highlighted this, let's start by looking at the UN Global Road Safety Week. It starts May 17 to May 23rd. What's this about when we say global UN Global Road Safety Week?
Thank you very much. When we mentioned safety as regards our roads, is beyond the local issues, is beyond a particular nation, is something that affects the entire world. And it got to a very disturbing dimension in 2009 when the whole world came together and said enough is enough. We have enough of carnages on our highway, and they used 2004 as a kind of platform for their judgment, where we had 1.3 million people killed in a year in road traffic crash and 50 million injured throughout the world. And it became a kind of health issue. When you can lose that number of people is beyond ordinary. And that attracted the attention of the whole world. And that was what prompted that Moscow 2009 summit, where they eventually arrived at the decade of action. That from 2010 to 2020, there must be a decade of action to nip this thing in the bud. And that was what really gave birth to having these assessments done annually. So we are having the one for this year, which is taking off from Monday till 23rd, and is an annual event which tends towards how can we reduce the carnages on our roads.
Well, it's very important. We'll talk about the theme, but quickly here, for those listening, you can be a part of this by sending us messages via WhatsApp on 0909 217 2973, 0909 217 2973. And of course, you can also tweet at us at Classic FM 973. We're looking at the FRSC, the Federal Road Safety Commission here in Nigeria. And I know that the discourse, a lot of Nigerians living outside the country also partake in the program by sending in their messages. So you can also send in your message. Don't forget to put in the country's telephone code +234 before doing that. Let's talk about the theme and see how this can work with us here in Nigeria. The theme is also a global theme set by the UN, right?
Yes, yeah, right. The theme for this year is Street for Life.
Street
for Life. And the target is about reducing the rate of speed on our roads. You agree with me that when we talk of fatality, you can hardly see a crash that leads to fatality without speed. That's the major cause of fatality in the course of any crash. As long as you are going on any outrageous speed, when a crash occurs, definitely life will be involved, unless on divine intervention. And that's what prompted the theme for this year. Because having judged from the analysis, the world come to agree that for us to reduce fatality, we must reduce speed. And the major focus for this year and target is the speed within the metropolis, the built-up areas, where we have the mix of human traffic and vehicular traffic. Like, I would rather say this year's theme should be celebrated by Lagos, because that's where we have the vehicular volume and pedestrian volume always mixing on daily basis at the peak period. You can imagine when a vehicle goes on 50 kilometers per hour in a built-up area within the town, it's suicidal. So the word has come, because when you judge the rate of crashes that were recorded in the last 2 years, the speed-related crashes were close to 203 recorded in 2019 and 223 in 2020. And we had the fatal one giving us about 42 on those 2 years. And the number of people killed the first 2019 were about 64, where it dropped to 49 in 2020. So you can imagine the lives that are being lost. I've not just mentioned the injured.
I think, sorry to cut you, I think even our listeners in Abuja will better understand what you're trying to say here, because I've had cause to ask the few times that I've been in Abuja. You see a crash in Abuja, you'll be asking yourself, these are the kind of crashes we usually will see on the highway.
Yeah. And
someone said to me, you guys should be thankful that you have traffic, the one we call go slow. You have go slow in Lagos.
Definitely.
Because if the roads were as free as we have in Abuja, then those people who love speed, they step on the pedals, and that's it. But again, sensitization, which is key, which is very important, and I'm happy that's what RoadSafety is doing, and they've always done. How does it sit with people, especially when they come to you? For instance, if I'm going to renew my license, or if I'm a first timer, I come. Is there a talk to this new driver who is getting his license for the very first time? Because it looks like almost everyone loves speed. And you can't control a car when you're truly on such motion. But how do you make people stop loving, such speed when they get on the wheels?
I'm very sure you are familiar with the phrase, speed thrills, but it kills.
Mm-hmm.
That's one of the major phrases FRSC have been using so many years now to sensitize members of the public on the dangers of speed.
And it's still relevant.
And when you talk of getting the message across to members of the public, and one of the mission of Federal Road Safety Corps is sustain public enlightenment. And this is what we have been doing in the last 33 years in all dimensions. Is it through print? Is it through electronics? Through all the social media handles? Through physical interaction with members of the public, the commuters, the drivers? We've attacked it from all angles. But the only thing that is missing out is discipline as regards the man behind the steering. Because it's a known information that on the highway, I'm even talking of the express now, you are not expected to go more than 100 kilometers per hour. And within the highway, within the township, depending on the location, if you are in a built-up area, like the world is saying now, your speed should drop to 30 kilometers per hour. is known to everybody, especially the new regime of getting driver's license now, where by mandate you must go through driving school with a syllabus of 26 days before you can even talk of accessing the portal for your driver's license. And what do you learn there? All the traffic rules, the various speed limit regulations. These are the things that you learn. And when you also get to the VIS, that's Vehicle Inspection Officer, that really need to test you for proficiency, these are the things they will still teach, they will ask you. So for you to have gone through these rudiments and you still claim not to know what the rule says, it's personal. And that's why the law, when you test the water, you meet your Waterloo.
We'll come back to talk more about driver's license, talk about education, which is very important, education, because it will seem as if some of the problems we encounter here in the country is, uneducated drivers. Now, we're not talking about the kind of education you already have, Commander, or I have. We're talking about education that revolves around driving. It will seem as if sometimes people don't even know when. As simple as pedestrian crossing. I stop for people to. Yes, personally, when I stop, it irks me that the man behind me is blaring his horn because he's wondering why I made that stop. And some can even maneuver and say, "The stupid guy, what are you doing?" And they just move. So we'll come back to looking at education, but I want us to talk more about this road safety. Global Road Safety Week. Before now, there was this 10 years, decade action,
yes,
which was set. And I thought that should have been over by now. We should be looking at another 10 years.
Yeah, that's where we're heading towards now. It's already signed. Another 10 years already been put in place, 2021 to 2030. That's the one that is about to start running now. Because you agree with me that so many issues came up in the last 10
years.
decades,
yeah.
That never really gave the bite that we expected. COVID-19 is also at the point where the decade was about rounding up. COVID-19 came up and distorted a lot of things. And saying that's why we're having this extension. And if you recall that the focus or the target of the last decade was to reduce road traffic crashes by 50%. That's worldwide, which I doubt if we've been able to achieve that. So now that we have another opportunity of assessing the next 10 years, I think all hands are going to be on deck in getting this achieved. So that's the essence of the next line of action by United Nations.
And you mentioned COVID. In the world that we are in at the moment, so many events have taken a different shape. Now with this particular event, which is a global event, I'm wondering how your command will be able to, mark this. So how are you going to go about this? Because keeping in mind that there's COVID-19, so perhaps is that something that is so unique that you have been able to put into activities marking this particular World Global Road Safety Week?
We cannot outrightly allow the present new normal to deprive the members of the public of being informed about other vices that could claim their life with the tip of the finger. And that's why, irrespective of what we are managing as regards this COVID-19, we still have to continue with our normal lives. Putting all the protocols in place, and that's exactly what we are doing. We adhere to the Presidential Task Force protocol on distancing, use of face masks, and also sanitizers are going to be made available, even in the cost, because definitely we have to converge in line to the minimum number as agreed by the protocol, and we still have to communicate to members of the public. So all these things are going to be done within the confinement of the regulations.
So, is there any activity or are there activities in Lagos to mark this special event?
Sure, we're starting tomorrow with a press conference, which will be put in place by the command. We've invited some media houses to come and be part of it. And also there's going to be a regulated road walk where we distribute handbills, sensitize members of the public, domesticated one where our men are going to, be by the roadsides, showing signals as regards the speed limit you are expected to go. And when you go beyond it, the evil involved in outrageous speed and the implication of other road users. So they are going to display all those placards. And we are also going to have our media chats, just like we are having now, where we relate with, we have an interface with members of the public. Many questions. Road safety happen to be a very sensitive issue in all areas of human endeavor. Anything that has to do with life and injury, you see people are so passionate about it. So we want to create a platform for them to also reach out, especially in the area of speed management. And on Saturday, our special marshals and road safety officers' wives association will visit the hospitals where they are going to also sympathize with victims of road traffic crashes and extend their widow's mite to them. So Friday and Sunday, we're expected to do Thanksgiving for those that survive, for those that are alive.
It's a week-long
It's a week-long, yes.
And it's good to know that I like the sensitization aspect of it, because time was when it was the main thing of FRSC, and I said I was going to ask you that question. It is as if there is a reduction in that. Sometimes, some weekends, we see members of your staff stopping people. They went a lot of times. Then I see they were not even issuing tickets. They stop you and they tell you, "Madam or Sir, do you know why we pulled you over? Because of A, B, and C. Come, let me show you." And I found that very endearing and very, very accommodating for people, especially here in Lagos. I don't know, is it about manpower or I don't know, or resources? Or maybe it's the route I take now. I don't get to see pretty much of that again in Lagos.
A lot of distractions all over. I will say we've rather improved on what you say you saw. It could be that you are distracted. You're a very busy man. Because it has become a routine thing that's on daily basis, nationwide now. And when you even want to look at the number of commands we have all over the federations doing the same thing, sensitizing members of the public, you know that we have really improved in what it used to be. And we've also brought in so many concepts. We have what we call morning cry now, where on daily basis, before our men move on their normal regular patrols, they go to motor parks and talk to drivers and commuters about to set out on their journey. And we also have pre-trip assessment, checking the vehicle to see if it's actually fit to proceed on that journey. And we sensitize the commuters that when this driver is misbehaving, don't keep quiet, speak out. Is it the social media handles? We have a national radio now, Federal Road Safety Corps, traffic radio, where we reach out to members of the public. We have so many avenues of reaching out. That's why I said maybe a lot of distractions that you don't really get what we are doing at present.
I'll look
and
more.
let me, in addition, on Wednesday, this thing you just mentioned, it's like our social corporate responsibility. We call it free safety check. It's still part of this 1 week arrangement, where on Wednesday we are not going to arrest anybody for any infraction. We are going to stop you. We are going to assess your vehicle and give you a slip to go and put your vehicle in order. So,
I like the aspect of putting vehicles in order. I have this. Maybe I shouldn't be saying this, but I'll say it. I have this dash cam, and a lot of times I'll say I give it to the FRSC and I say, When I drive around Lagos, sometimes my dash cam, I have visuals of VIOs, their vehicles, so the taillights are gone, and I say, hey, and you don't have any right to pull me over if your vehicle is bad. And I've also seen some, rickety and badly damaged vehicle, being driven by the police. And sometimes when I'm pulled over, I say, I don't think you have a driver's license, sir, because if you do, your vehicle will be in a good order because you keep bashing this vehicle. Don't mind me, that's me. I like to ask people questions. And to a large extent, your vehicles are better than these other people. So it comes to watching yourself first before you go out, which is very key here. It brings us to the issue of drivers and training. We'll get to driver's license. I know a lot of Lagosians, they want to hear so many things about driver's license. Those in Abuja want to hear so many things about driver's license. In Port Harcourt, these cities, they're eager to know one or two things about driver's license. But especially everyone on the wheels, how do you really help, apart from those who have taken that test? Do you have a system whereby some people are taken off driving because of some kind of, grave infraction? Because it looks like some people don't have any business driving on our roads.
Yeah, thank you very much. I mentioned earlier we have routine enforcement where any driver that goes against what the rule says is given a ticket, and every offense on that ticket attracts a point. So when you get to a particular point, it's either your driver's license is suspended or is seized outrightly. So that's the extent to which we have gone now. We have a database where all these are recorded. So the day you get to that point where it is to be suspended, the driver's license will be taken away from you. And when you get to the point where it is going to be an outright seizure, the same thing will happen. So it is a system that runs, is an automated system that is only when you are affected that you know that this thing has really happened to you. But because by virtue of the vehicular volumes in the entire nation, in the entire federation, you hardly see people coming up. You hardly see incessant, how will I call it, recalcitrant drivers. So if you are arrested today, Nigerians, they learn a lot. When they are arrested for an infraction today, you hardly see the person committing the same to the point of falling into the hands of FRSC. So we might not be able to reach that point where either you are suspended or you are outrightly stopped from driving. But I will not also deny the fact that we still have so many too that will also commit the same offense, and they have one way or the other slipped off, the infraction grade. Yes. So we have it. The system, we have it on ground, is a well-developed system. We have the database for that at the point where you are arrested and giving your ticket, the point rates, and it counts on your driver's license.
Now we're talking about points. This question here from Tune Egwando. If you look at the question, I think it would have been best for this question to go to our Corps Marshal, Boboye Oyeyemi, Doctor. But I'll still ask you, you attempt or you can pass it on to him. That's if he's not listening. And it says, is the agency doing anything to link our NIN, our National Identification Number, to our number plates and even house, because your NIN carries almost all your information, so as to prosecute traffic offenders instead of risking the lives of members of FRSC and even other road users by blocking the road or chasing these people in their vehicles. That's what he's asking.
I will rather, you said it already.
Yes, because this looks like
it's more of a policy issue. That is only the Corps Marshal that can respond directly. But I will also be glad to tell you that all that is needful as regards this have been put in place by Federal Road Safety Corps. But when it comes to talking about the nitty-gritty of the entire thing, the Corps Marshal, Dr. Bobuyo Yemi, will be in the best position since it has a national outlook.
Because it will help your colleagues, it will help your staff, it will help others, knowing full well that, I don't know if you, because I grew up watching the movie, The Blues Brothers, chasing and, car racing, so that we see less of that on our roads. You're going to say something?
Yes, I just wanted to add that there is no way we can do enforcement without having physical contact, depending on the nature of infraction. If a vehicle fail brake, will I use technology to stop such vehicle?
You know what he's saying, for instance,
Yes.
if there is an infraction on a driver, all you need to do with the capturing of his number plate, you allow him go.
It's the same thing I'm saying. It depends on the nature of the offense. If it's just an infraction that will not lead to immediate crash that could get somebody killed, there's technology in place for that. We have a very robust database where at the input of your number plate, every information about you comes out. It's just not introducing anything new to us. It's what has been in the system that has assisted in arresting so many crash-strand drivers or those that escaped. And not just about that, even the security aspect of it. 2020 alone, we were able to recover more than 480 vehicles that were stolen in the course of trying to re-register by virtue of the robust database. So we have a very robust. We don't need to pursue any vehicle on the highway. The moment your number is gotten, we can get you arrested. But what I'm just trying to say is, when I know that infraction could lead to immediate crash or death of somebody, it is necessary for me to try and stop that offender.
You want to give us an example? Yes.
Like a truck that is carrying a container about to fall. And you say I should just get the number and go away? What if anything happens before it gets to its destination? Or a tanker carrying fuel that is leaking. That is just an inferno in waiting. I cannot allow such vehicle to go. Whatever that it takes for me to stop that vehicle from proceeding on that trip, I will have to do that without also putting the life of other road users in danger.
No, I think it's making sense now, because I wanted that example so that we understand, because this cat and mouse chasing of vehicles.
Yeah, we've gone beyond that. We've gone beyond that, but we still have to balance it.
Using your vehicle to block the road, and you keep asking yourself, why in heaven's name do we have people still doing this at this point in time? Still, we're not done with some of the questions here. I'm trying to look at the increase. I'll tell you a story, a very short one. It will amaze you. My immediate elder brother, I think, started off in the early 90s with the FRSC before he left. And while I was there in Ogbomoso, when I'm coming to see him, he's always angry. Why would you come? Because the roads are tiny and a lot of trucks on that road. Yeah. And he's always painting the picture of how sometimes these truck drivers will deliberately move their vehicles facing the FRSC vehicle and say, look, today I'll kill you. And we've also seen people sometimes fight, go fiscal on members of staff of the FRSC. Now we're talking about assault. And it's increasing by the day. I'm talking about early 90s. And this is 2001. It's still happening. Is there anything you think is wrong here? Because I thought that the FRSC is a friendly organization that the people should be happy with, but people still go fiscal with your men.
You can imagine the history you just narrated now. That's close to 30 years ago, and it's still happening. And it's an indication that an average Nigerian does not like enforcement. we want a situation where we go against the law and we feel we should be pampered. Because it's not just about Federal Road Safety Corps alone. You agree with me that we are not aggressive. You agree with me that we are not carrying arms. You agree with me that when it comes to elite corps, you can point at Federal Road Safety Corps and say, "Whoa, I give it to them." But with all these qualities, our men are still being bashed, assaulted, threatened, and even killed in the course of carrying out their daily duties. I chose someone. I said, we have two colors to the members of the public. When you see us being celebrated, is when we are rescuing crash victims. You see people hailing us, wonderful men, hardworking men. Or when we are managing traffic, maybe they've been all held down for so many hours, and we came in, intervened, and the place got cleared. You see people celebrating us. Let the same set of people get involved in an infraction, and you get them arrested. They turn against you. So it's just a very simple denomination that the only thing Nigerian feels is that all infractions that is committed should be treated as social corporate responsibility. Where someone will say, "Why didn't you just warn me?" How will I warn you? There's something you deliberately, the eras of persuasion have gone. We started with that. You recall in 1988, we're going all about doing public sensitization, informing members of the public the nature of offenses, and we have gotten to the point where any offense that is committed must be faced with the necessary punishment if you are caught. And this is what, and we're dealing with issues of life here, life and death, that any little mistake, you imagine someone saying ordinary lightning system, a man that does not even have, that is going right, is trafficating right and is going left on speed.
I'm glad you've seen that. That's why I'm asking.
It's almost everywhere.
Asking about this education.
It's almost everywhere. They know it.
You're on a roundabout. They don't even know who has the right
of the road. They know. It's all
think they know?
They know. It's all about impatience. It's all about impatience. They know. You want to tell me that a man that is going against the traffic in Lagos does not know he's wrong? You want to tell me a man that sees me and decides to put up his phone when he knows there's a law that says you must not make drive and make calls, is when he sees a FRSC vehicle, he brings out the phone? You know what a very renowned IG told me one time when I paid him a visit in Lagos State here. It was AIG then, Attorney Conye. He said, if you want to get the best of Nigeria when it comes to infraction, go against what you want them to do. That was when we were having the issues with crash helmets. He said, just come up on here and say, no Okada should use crash helmets. He said, you'll be so surprised that all Okada will go and buy crash helmets and wear. Because they want to show you that they can go against what the law says.
Oh.
Yeah. Because when you say, do not urinate here, you see people lining up urinating there. But go there and say, come and urinate here. You see everybody taking off from that place. That is where we've gotten to. There's nobody, because at the end, at the beginning at the commencement, the rudiments of traffic really management, you are tutored on how to manage the traffic, how to drive before you are given driver's license.
I have this here from Kingsley in Ajah. He says, good afternoon. And my question to the sector commander is, what is the difference between express road and highway?
Well, the express road is a road that is separated from the different direction without intersection and distraction. That is express road. There's no U-turn. So you are there, you are taking off from the beginning and you are moving till the end. That's an express road. And it's facing one direction. It's not counterflow traffic. And if you need to make U-turn, that's where you have interchange. So there's no distractions on your movement. While the highway is where we have high vehicle volume, either the express or the township. So an expressway can be a highway But a highway might not necessarily be an expressway.
And on driver's license, this question, they say, does your man have the right to check for a driver's license when he or she doesn't have one?
Well, it's a very good question. Because it's like sitting on the keg of gunpowder when you allow people that are not skilled to drive, to hold steerings on the highway or in town. Because the only way I can confirm that you are a skilled driver is to show me your driver's license. So if you don't have driver's license, you don't have any business on the highway. And how will I know this if I don't ask? So, at times it could be a secondary offense, and at the same time it could also be a primary offense. Primary offense is the one where how to check. That means if you want to, maybe there are a series of, the other day we were having about 55,000 unclaimed driver's license in our office. An indication that 55,000 drivers are moving around the town
without license. So that's actually true, because when I saw that announcement saying that, look, if you don't come after a time, we're going to destroy them. So it was actually true that you have that number.
We have that.
Claim.
You're right.
Because I recall. Because let me bring in this question before I say what I want to say, and it is from Yemi in Bagada. Yemi says, "Hi Sulaiman. The truth is that they still circumvent the driver's license portals. They just tick off each day as if the applicant actually came for the training." So that's what Yemi is saying. He's saying, I think he's reacting to the kind of training you say people come for.
Yeah.
It doesn't work that way. They tick off some of those days as if the person had actually come for that training, and in the end, he or she is given the driver's license.
We try to standardize the operations of the driving school. The Federal RoadSafety Corps does not operate the driving schools, but we give them a standard, and we also manage the portal. So if you don't run through the 26-day syllabus, which we assume that must have been done by the driving school, we monitor them, we run the system, but we are not the one that operates it. Until that 26 days runs, the portal you cannot generate the code in respect of that applicant. And that's the code you use in accessing the portal to get the form to fill for your driver's license. So it's all about integrity and conscience.
And now talking about integrity and conscience, is there a way you can actually, covertly, overtly ask someone, undercover to check with some of these driving schools?
It's done on a regular basis. Some have been blacklisted, as I'm talking to you. When I say regular basis, and it takes two to tango. If there is no complaint from the applicants that have paid, I get to this driving school, nobody, no instructor to take care of me. But you realize that most of these compromise are being caused by even the applicants themselves. That I don't have the time. Let me just run it through and get my driver's license and get my certificates. So, but at the same time, there are check and balances. We have the VIS also that does the proficiency test. So if you are able to pervert the driving school level, the VIS too should be able to wait for you. When you have failed at that point, you will be forced to go back. I think that's how the system runs. Apart from the fact that we have the supervisory role, we go there on regular inspection one to confirm if you have been able to meet up with the necessary requirements. You can hardly see quack driving schools all over, unlike what it used to be in the past, because we have the requirements that must be a prerequisite for you to be given the license to own a driving school.
I'm happy about this. I don't know about those listening. I'm one of those who actually went and I wrote that exam. And it was a fine exam that you would have thought that you knew everything. I still can remember on the day we took that test, myself, Chamberlain Uso, Mark Welgo, all three of us we left work, we came and we sat with the VIO and we wrote the exam, and the result is immediate. I haven't gone through, and it was a renewal, but we were made to go through that. So I think it's, apart from being fun, it's knowledge for you, because there are some things, simple questions, for instance, if the vehicle is descending and something happens to the vehicle, where do you put the wedge? Do you put the wedge behind? Some simple logic that you would think that everyone would know, but people still fail it. And it tells you that you really have to go through the process, as you're saying. Let me quickly take this here. And it says, I think this is the question. Yes. There are many questions I have. This is from Osaina Bulegba. But my main concern is the fact that the FRSC office under the Ikeja Bridge is besieged with insane commercial vehicles causing unnecessary traffic all the time. It shows complacency, redundance, and acceptance of wrongdoings. Even with police there, it shows compromise. Also, those unclaimed licenses, have the individuals been contacted to know if they are alive? It sounds laughable, but he's spot on.
Last week alone, 2 weeks ago, the commercial Dr. Boboyo Yemi sponsored that the entire applicants that had their driver's license hanging in our office should be contacted. And I say sponsor, you understand what I meant by that, because it's not a free meal.
Yeah.
Because ideally, when the rule is after 60 days of your temporary driver's license, now under 2 weeks, your permanent driver's license is ready. Unlike before, where we're on 60 days. Now under 24 hours, a week, you can easily go back and confirm if it's ready. But this time, because of the number we had, in the office, we had to contact them one after the other through SMS and calls.
So is that yielding any result?
Yeah. Well, many people.
Great.
Well, some just felt they were busy, and we let them know the implication. And coupled with the press release I made, that after this week, there's going to be an enforcement. And if you don't have your driver's license, definitely you are going to be arrested, because it's illegal for you to apply the rule without driver's license.
Now, take us through the process, because almost everyone is talking about driver's license now. What's the process? What's the procedure of getting driver's license?
The first stage is for you to be up to the age of acquiring driver's license as a private owner. That's 18 years. You have to get to that rank.
You don't think that? Sorry, I'm cutting you. Don't you think that should be this 18 years in this country?
Yes.
Everything 18 years.
Yes.
So if a child is 17 or 16, he or she can't drive.
Well, let's get to that first. The standard must start from somewhere. The one Nigeria has adopted for now is 18 years. So let's leave it at that. Remember,
but do you think it's something that we should review?
Well, by virtue of what I've seen, the academic line, where you see a child that is 15, 16, already being admitted into the university, which shows the level of maturity. I think,
yes, I agree with you.
I think when it gets to the point where it has to be reviewed,
our representatives should also look into that.
I want to believe it can be done when the system feels it's necessary. But for now, we are still sustaining that 18 years. You apply to a driving school where you are expected to go through the 26-day syllabus lectures. And after the 26 days, a code will be generated through your certificates. And it's that code you use in assessing the portal for your driver's license through the FRSC website. So you assess it. When you assess it, then you print it out after filling it, get across to that's the VIS for proficiency test to confirm that the driving school I passed through.
Okay, that's the test
fit.
I took.
That's the test you just took. That I'm fit, I'm available to be tested. So if you scale through, you get across to MVA and make your payments that now VIS has passed me. I'm qualified to have a driver's license. So I want to make my payments. So make the payments. After the payments, you are asked to go to Federal Safety Corps for your biometrics and capturing. And that's the stage. And immediately, you'll be given the temporary driver's license.
Commander Ogungbemide, I think if we follow all this process, this procedure, trust me, I think we'll have less carnages on our roads.
Yes.
Because we have some checks. You've gone to the driving school.
Yes.
And I'm here before you, and the vehicle inspection unit is saying, I want to test you. And that's another one.
Yes.
So it looks like what that listener said is the truth. People circumvent the process. And if they do, I know this, honestly, as you said, this is not within FRSC, but what do you think the country can do to help in, guard against people who circumvent this process?
Where we are today is a product of the change in the series of regime we have witnessed in the past. There's an improvement. Remember where we started? Using booklets, using passports. But even a blind man can even manage to open his eyes and present a passport as for acquisition of driver's license. But over the years, we've been able to improve it to where we find ourselves today. And I think there's still room for improvements. It's not just, and why, when most of us that actually came down from the Western world and know the rigors in getting driver's license, we patiently wait to run through it, at times 6 months, before you can get the driver's license in the Western world. But when we come here, the same set of people wants to circumvent that particular process. Again, wants to look for short corners, that this is our father's land. Anything goes. Because if I have a son, the moment my son was 18, I sent him to that driving school and spent that 26-day syllabus. Because I deliberately did that because that's what the law says. So that I will be able to talk with confidence tomorrow. I'm not just doing it for myself. I'm also doing it for the safety of that boy. Because if it's not well tutored, how will he have the confidence? That's, you just mentioned knowing the rules.
Absolutely.
Like one boy from nowhere driving a tanker.
I'll come back
that does not know the meaning of narrow bridge ahead.
Let me take Rita's question. I'll come back to those tankers because I was... Anyway, Rita is unhappy. She said, I applied for a 5-year driver's license at Ikbonri Road Safety Office, but I was issued a 3 years license. How do I get this sorted?
It should apply to the sector commander and lay complaint. It's not at times we keep quiet when things are wrong.
So Rita, you've had
there's an institution that is managing this. Reach out to the management. That's what the rule says.
So you've heard the commander. He's the man in charge of Lagos here, and he's told you have to write, and that's just the truth. It will be sorted out. Errors like this do happen, but this is fixable. Quickly, these tanker drivers, apologies to the very good ones amongst them. Do they also go through this kind of process before getting driver's license?
When you look at the process, before now, it used to be all commerce affairs.
And I've seen some really, really young ones that look like 16.
So many issues. I'm always on the road. It used to be all commerce affairs. You just get money to buy tankers, you get someone. Because I do ask question. If you are bringing in about 500 tankers into this country because you have money, do you have 500 drivers trained to drive the articulated vehicles? You ask yourself as an operator, do you have it? And when we put process in place to run through, how many times have we compromised this process? In the past, we didn't have close to 500 tankers coming to Lagos so many years back. But today we have thousands of tankers coming to Lagos, because that's the only direction now where they pick fuel. So you can now know how enormous the responsibility is for us.
So many of them, do they have driver's license?
When we encounter them, those that are not having driver's license, we get them arrested. Those that have and do wrong, we also get them arrested. So I cannot sit down here and tell you that all of them are having driver's license. And that's why our enforcement, I just told you something now, that enforcement is not just about the use of technology. There are some that you have to present yourself physically for you to be able to attend to it. Technology will not be able to tell me that driver that is behind the steering without driver's license.
I'm just trying to see how much of questions I can take before we wrap up. A lot of questions here. But Osai is saying that you didn't answer his questions, that you only answered the last part, which has to do with driver's license. Okay. That the main concern, you didn't answer that about the FRSC office under the Ikeja Bridge, which is besieged with insane commercial vehicles. So he wants...
I think where we have that issues at present... our office is actually relocated from there. Maybe he's not aware.
Okay.
It's only the driver's license center we have there now. We don't have a unit there now. So most time I had to send men from Ojuduhen to Ikeja. And we also have the regular traffic management units of LASMA and police managing that place. You agree with me that it's a huge traffic volume that runs there. And the attitude of the road users is another major thing.
Don't mind me, I've been doing rush.
I understand.
We're rushing now, but we're not speeding on the highway. so this one here says, hi, Sulaiman, please ask the sector commander what's his stand on vehicles covering number plates, some with only rear numbers and some no number plates at all.
Directive have been given by headquarters. Anywhere they are seen, they are to be arrested, and we have been arresting them.
Okay.
So it's also a signal to them that there's no hiding place. If you have your number, you have to put your number. If you don't have your number, keep the vehicle away from the road.
And this from Larry in Ikoyi here is asking, can trucks and tankers be stopped from having blinding headlights and no tail lights? Don't you think that they should be regulated to have proper rear lighting and neon signs all around?
It's very correct. We are on that.
Because the thing here is, I still insist that this whole talk about FRSC is about FAQs. People really want to know, to the extent that they get on the road, they don't even understand what is happening. Now, as we draw to a close, what are the basic requirements that everyone should have in his or her vehicle, or what constitutes a good vehicle that is fit and proper to be on the road?
Yes, thank you very much. Let's judge from the minimum safety standard that is required for articulated vehicles, because that's where we started it all. Where we say, in as much as we know that it's not possible, practically possible in Nigeria today to bring in new vehicles to run commercial business, government became flexible. I said, okay, and you bring in old ones, then sustain the standard, the minimum safety standard. Your lighting system, the headlamps, the rear lights, the trafficator, the parking lights, the inner lights, all are to be in perfect condition. But today, you see even the casing of the lighting systems are not even there. And someone feels an offense for me to stop such vehicle. Then you talk of the side mirror. How do you judge a truck without a side mirror? Telling me that it has an inner mirror. What does a truck do? What does it see with an inner mirror? No, a tanker. Just judge from a tanker. What does he see with an inner mirror? He sees only his tank. And without a side mirror, how do you ply the highway? Where has the question? Then you talk of the wiper. We're entering the rainy season now. You see more vehicles. When it's raining, the driver brings out a towel.
I've seen them.
Or you see them, and I'm waiting for them too. because we've given enough sensitization on this. I'm waiting for them.
His hand is a wiper.
He brings out his hand, losing concentration, getting distracted, and he drives with one hand. And how do you manage it? I remember when I was served in Meduguri one time. That's when I know that two people could drive a vehicle. It was 1990-something, when the conductor was pulling accelerator and the driver was managing the steering. Mina, so many hours till we got to Ibadan. So these are the things you see. When we talk of minimum safety standard, what happens to the tires? The tire is bringing tread, and you say you are managing it. The tire is more of the life of the vehicle. When you have a sound tire, the probability of a tire burst or vehicle somersaulting is out of it. Then the braking system. So these are the things, little things that are required. And when you look at the prices of these things, are the things we spend on data, we spend on buying drinks that we can fit. Go to Third Milan Bridge and see how people innocently sleep in a bus that has no side mirror, that has no rear light, that has no brake lights, and they are comfortable in a rickety vehicle.
And I think that, again, we should also bring that to you, to your office. Why is it? Because I keep asking. Sometimes I see VIO.
Yes.
And even FRS. I say, you are holding this man, this fine vehicle, this fine motor. Look at this bus with nothing, no wiper, nothing. You just allow the guy go through as if they are above the law. Quickly, add this to it so that we can close. Yes. And it is from the same person who has asked about the number plates. He sent another one. He said, no, sir, there are plenty in Lekki here. Nobody's arresting them. Are they untouchable? So he's just told you where you have a lot of people covering their number plates. And he's mentioned an area. He said, you have a lot of them there in Lagos.
Okay. He's not far from the fact.
He's asking, are they untouchable?
He's not far from the fact. They are not untouchable. If you get to my office now, you see so many vehicles arrested there. But the truth of the matter is, in life, in the society, you have the bad, the good, and the ugly. And you also have the machinery put in place to checkmate this. But you ask yourself, have we been able to solve all the crimes? I entered the church, and the pastor asked me, why have you not stopped all the traffic offenders in Lagos? And I said, Pastor, why have you not stopped all the sinners in the church? Because, the system is dynamic. As you are getting some arrested, new ones are coming in. That's why you see us on a daily basis, a routine thing. If you're unlucky, we catch you, we hold you. And remember, when I'm arresting the vehicle, I cannot leave the one I'm tending to and run down to see there's no desperation about it. It's an arrest that is done at a time, because we must not also cluster to the point of causing gridlock. So it's all a matter of discretion and wisdom when we want to operate.
So quickly, as we're closing now, a lot of people listening would want to follow up on some of the key things we've discussed here. They want to know how and they can reach your office. Reaching you, if they have a WhatsApp line, if they have social media being handled by any of your staff, just help us so that we can take this conversation away from the radio frequency and continue with your staff members who will be attending to all our listeners, because the questions here, we haven't actually scratched the surface. I just said to myself, let's allow the commander to talk more so that we can get enlightened, and these are all the people who can reach out. So tell us some of those areas we can reach you quickly.
Before I mention the numbers to you, I would rather want to plead that if you are arrested by FRSC men, don't call this number. Just go and pay your fines and face the music. But when you come across a crash, when you come across gridlock, when there are compromises all over that you feel you should report, please call the numbers. For the sector commanders' numbers, you call 080-77690-201. I repeat, sector commanders' number 080-77690-201. The PRO's number is 081-51-790-168. PRO's number 081-51-790168. And for toll-free, be free to call 122 wherever throughout the Federation.
I love the toll-free 122. And I'll just take this so that he can go home with this and work on this. And one last question here, and it must be taken. I have observed that motorcycles no longer carry number plates, even when they perpetrate any evil or crime. How can we trace them? They also have no helmets. Again, this is from Rita. So I'll let you go with that so that you know what to work with. Congratulations and to you and your team for another beautiful UN Global Road Safety Week, which starts May 17. And of course, for those listening, you know how to reach the FRSC and for the toll-free number 122. It's a wrap on the discourse. Our guest has been the Lagos State Sector Commander, Olusegun Ogungbemide. I had to ask him how to pronounce that so that I don't turn it, the other way around. I'm Sulaiman Alede. I'll see you again next week. Bye-bye.